Some say the land of Ayrshire talks, telling stories of the past, of Scotland's favourite son, the ploughman poet, the bard. Some say it was the birthplace of that great historical king, Robert the Bruce. Others remember another king, and the day Elvis Presley set foot in Prestwick Airport. Who could forget the Battle of Turnberry, where Watson defeated Nicholas in the formidable Duel in the Sun? Ayrshire boasted Johnny Walker and mining towns too. Glenbuck bore the legendary Bill Shankly, and football coursed through his blood like the seam of coal in a mine. Football has been in the blood of Ayrshire since 1869, when Kilmarnock was formed. Now they are the oldest professional team in Scotland. Success might not always be regular, but it is there, just like the land.
The words of the late William McElvany. What a setting for our first game of the new season. We're in Burns territory, and wouldn't Rabbie have loved a game like this? It's an Ayrshire derby to kick off the Betfred Cup. When these teams meet, it's usually filled with passion and pride. Around 6,000 people will be inside Somerset Park tonight. The away fans are here in force. It is indeed Ayr United v Kilmarnock live in BT Sport as we get going with the group stage of this competition. Killie, by the way, have not won here in 24 years. Welcome along, great to see you again. Another season of football here in BT Sport in Scotland. We start off with the Betfred Cup all the way to the final in November. We've got the Premiership as well and the end of season playoffs. We're going to be busy, and all in the company of these three. Once again, Chris Sutton, Stephen Craigan and Michael Stewart. And I can say, I've missed you. Good to see you all again, and you've got your own back right away, early season for that custard pie last year.
It's going to be a long season. I could taste custard and smell custard for months after, so I'm sure he'll get his way back somewhere.
And you looked happy with that ice cream?
Yes, a pity he wasn't as accurate with his passing.
Yeah, indeed. And what about this weather to kick things off?
Brilliant.
Yeah, proper summer's day. Well, this should be a cracking
Summer
start
football.
For us. Summer football. What a start this is, though, the Ayrshire derby.
Yeah, you're right. You know, it's going to be a big crowd in here at Somerset Park tonight, and it's a fantastic start to the Scottish football season, and one that I think we're all looking forward to.
And I know we all enjoyed the Betfred Cup last season, didn't we? Particularly because often at this time of the year we're talking about pre-season games that are meaningless often, and yet we've got competitive football and a good crowd here.
And the old League Cup format had got tired, hasn't it? I thought last season the Betfred Cup was sensational. Some great stories. Morton were brilliant getting through to the semi-finals. The semi-final, Celtic Rangers, good game, but you know, and Celtic got on the road to the treble.
Even early on in the tournament, you had 3 Premiership sides getting knocked out of the group stages. So it's important, Kilmarnock being one of those teams, it's important that they're concentrating early on, because you're right, meaningless pre-season games have now been replaced with these games.
Yeah, summer football, you've endorsed that all along as well, haven't you?
Well, I have, and I think the irony is that the weather's bad tonight, but I still think a poor summer, poor summer's still better than a good winter. The pitches are magnificent. I think the rain tonight will add a little bit of grease to the surface. I expect the tempo of the game to be high. Fans at this time of year are buying their season tickets, they're getting their new tops, they want to go and see competitive football, so tonight should be a great game.
If you've just joined us for the Betfred Cup for the first time, let me just tell you how this competition works. There are 8 groups of 5 teams. The 8 group winners and the 4 best runners-up will join our European participants in the last 16. And in the group stages, if a game ends in a draw, we'll go straight to penalties, and the winner of that shootout will get a bonus point as well. So trying to back attacking football, and that seemed to work last season as well, guys, because in 95 games there were only 3 0-0 draws, Stephen.
Well, I think what happens is the so-called favourites, the sides further up the ladder, because they're not fully up to speed, the teams in the lower league fancy their chances a little bit more. The sharpness isn't there, the kind of slickness in their play isn't there, so League 2, League 1 clubs fancy themselves getting up. Alva, I think Chris touched on, were great last year, so they're the benchmark for the lower league clubs. Can you go and compete?
But it is right to say, though, that the top flight teams can't take anything for granted. You've already mentioned a few out last season. Kilmarnock struggled at this stage as well, but if they were to win tonight, you'd expect them to go through this time in this group, wouldn't you, with Dumbarton, Clyde and Annan also in the group?
Yeah, you would, and I think that it's important for Lee McCulloch, now being appointed the full-time manager, to get a good start. And I think you're right, this is the big one, the Ayrshire derby. If he comes away with a favourable result here tonight, then you would fully expect Kilmarnock to go on and top the group.
OK, I'll come back to the Cup in just a few minutes, but I also just wanted to recap a result coming into us tonight. Celtic have won at Windsor Park tonight by 2-0 against Linfield, and after Aberdeen last night in the draw at home, I guess Scottish football needed a good result in Europe, and well, we got one tonight, didn't we?
Well, no surprise though. No. Darryl, Celtic were comfortable. The worst refereeing decision I've ever seen Lee Griffiths booked. Ridiculously for throwing bottles off the pitch. Bottles were being launched at him. They've got to sack the referee. OK, but you'd expect them to go through it, and a good draw for the next round if they do, Dundalk or Rosenborg, guys. What do you think? Good draw for Celtic?
Well, I think Celtic were always going to win this tie. You know, it depended, could they put the game to bed or the tie to bed tonight? They almost have with 2-0. You know, they dominated possession. They will dominate possession at Celtic Park, but their eyes are getting through the group stage. Forget these games, get through, get to the group stage is vital. And
Aberdeen would have been slightly disappointed with the home draw last night, and also after St Johnstone and Rangers were knocked out at the first round stage. But we're desperate for them to go through. Can they still do that, do you think?
Of course they can. There's absolutely no reason why they can't go away from home and get a result that's going to see them through to the next round. And Aberdeen are a good side. They've a lot of positive things happen up at Pittodrie. I don't see any reason why they can't progress.
OK, attention back on this game right now. Time to get all the team news, and also time to say a warm welcome to our latest recruit, Rory Hamilton, who will be behind the commentary mic for most of this season. And what a way for him to start, Rory, under an umbrella.
Yeah, exactly. Conditions certainly not conducive to summer football here, but what a fantastic venue. Somerset Park has always been one of those characteristic stadiums in Scottish football, and what a fitting venue for the Ayrshire derby as well. And here are the 1 to 11, obviously with squad numbers, but at this time of year, of course, new signings play a big part, and Andy Geoghegan, Chris Higgins, Michael Moffat are the new signings. Craig Moore, of course, was on loan from Motherwell, but he has now made that move to Ayr United permanent. For Kilmarnock, it's mainly in the back four where you'll see their new signings. Well known to Scottish football fans, Stephen O'Donnell, and of course Kirk Broadfoot. Also, Callum Waters comes into the side at left back, and Alan Power will come in to the midfield. So interesting to see those new changes. Both managers will be looking to make more signings, I would suggest, in the coming weeks. But that is your team news for tonight, and to find out a little bit more from inside Somerset Park in the main stand, here's Ailey Barber.
Well, just walking through the front doors here at Somerset Park, and it's one of these traditional old football stadiums, so welcoming. You get a great smell when you come in here. There's a kitchen down there. It smells like they're cooking something good. I think I'll have to take a little visit in there at some point. The players all walk through here. A little reminder of that championship playoff win back in 2016. Then a reminder of who they need to keep happy tonight. There's the referee's changing room. We come through here. The manager's office is right there. We're going to have a chat with the manager, but not in his office, because he's in here getting the players ready for tonight's game. Into the dressing room, access all areas as ever on BT Sport. And there is the man himself, Ian McCall. Football season's starting already. Can you believe it?
No, I can't. I mean, I think I said with the local paper, with Mike Wilson, that in our day, and probably Lee McCulloch as well, we had 5-6 weeks of pre-season. I mean, this is about the 3.5 weeks, and we've got one of the biggest games of the season. So, I mean, it's not ideal for either club, but you know what? I mean, the atmosphere will be so good that players will respond to that, I think.
Yeah, the atmosphere you talk about, it being one of the biggest games of the season, it's a pretty tasty one to start the season off, isn't it?
Well, it is, and because it's an old stadium, you get that special type of atmosphere. I had that at Broadfoot when I was manager of Falkirk, and you know, you have 7,500 and can generate more atmosphere than 20,000-30,000 at one of the bigger grounds. So the atmosphere will be fabulous tonight.
Now, I know you had a good cup run in the Betfred Cup last year. You had a good cup run in the Scottish Cup. This year, does the priority change a little bit with the relegation? Is the priority more on promotion, or do you still fancy yourself as a cup team?
Well, listen, the priority's got to be the league. I mean, this club needs to get back up. It's that simple. But you know, if you can throw in a couple of decent cup runs, we did well in the cups last year, but couldn't follow that up in the league, of which I've taken responsibility for. So you always like to win cup ties. You always like to progress in cups. Financially, it's also good for the club and for the chairman. But the league is absolutely priority. But tonight, you know, you ask any of the fans or Kilmarnock fans what the priority is, and it's winning this football match.
Well, you've got a very good record here against Kilmarnock. We wish you all the best, Ian.
Thank you. Cheers, Ailey.
There's a lot at stake here tonight. Of course, it's a derby. You can hear the fans behind us. But after the disappointment of relegation last season, they can set the tone for this year if they get a win here, can't they, Chris?
Yeah, I thought he was doing Lee McCulloch a disservice, saying he was from the same era. Ridiculous.
Just the 14 years between them, I think, roughly.
Absolutely crazy. Look, I mean, this is a real chance for Ayr tonight, this game, to bounce back, to kick-start their season. They had a good win against Hamilton in the Betfred Cup here last season. They're going full-time this season. That shows their intent. Ian McCall will, want to do well in the league. They want to bounce straight back up. If they can beat Kilmarnock tonight, that will give them real confidence.
And I think going full-time is a risk. So Ian McCall will know this is setting the tone for the season exactly. The league's going to be important for them. Rift Rovers are full-time, Airdrie full-time. Alloa had a good season last season, so it's not just going to be, walk in the park for them, but he's invested in players, he's been backed by his board, so they'll want to see a little bit of a return. So a little bit of pressure for Ian.
Also want a bit of payback tonight against Kilmarnock, the big rivals, because the last couple of meetings have been in this League Cup. And when you think back to 2012, that was at Hampden, that was the semi-final, the year Kilmarnock went on to win it, and it was a late goal by Dean Shields that day in front of more than 25,000 people, Michael.
Well, it just shows you what a big fixture it is, and this one went to extra time, I think I can recall, and a huge goal from Dean Shields, and they obviously went on and won the Cup that year. And as you said, 25,000 at Hampden. I think we're talking about almost 6,000 or 7,000 in here tonight. You can already hear the crowd going at it. So I'm really looking forward to this game, and also it's a great chance for, as the lads have said, for Ayr to get one up on Kilmarnock, because I don't think there's going to be a great deal in between the two teams at such an early stage in the season.
Well, Ayr United obviously have signed a few players, experienced players. Kilmarnock under Lee McCulloch have done a lot of business as well, and they've got some experienced men in, including Kirk Broadfoot. You heard Rory say that a few minutes ago. A lot of defenders come in. Alex Samizadeh is also just joined from Bolton on loan. He's a striker. Overall, guys, when you reflect on the business done, do you like what he's done so far, guys?
What you look at there is you've got Stephen O'Donnell at right back, who's got experience with Partick Thistle in the league. Kirk Broadfoot, lots of experience. Defensively, they look a lot more sound.
That was clearly the focus, wasn't it?
Of course, no doubt about it. And I think that there's some good signings in there, brings a bit of solidity to the team. And I think Lee McCulloch as well is a good acquisition for Kilmarnock.
Broadfoot, a good signing, guys, for you?
Yeah, I think he's gone for what he knows. He's gone for experience. Lee McCulloch has. I mean, I thought last season Kilmarnock did fantastically well. 7th, punched above the weight. And 7th would be good for Kilmarnock this season as well.
And Stephen O'Donnell at right back, could that be a key addition, actually?
He's had so much energy. When he was at Partick Thistle, everybody used to talk about his ability going forward. Maybe defensively at times there was question marks up against him. I think he done okay at Luton, but I think to get back up the road, to play in a league where he knows he can enjoy himself, Lee McCulloch will let him loose. He'll want him getting up and down the side. He'll want to go and attack and win games. He'll be vital.
But the question is, where did the goals come from this season? Again, they were the lowest scorers in the top flight last season, and Connor Salmon was there on loan. Don't know if he's going to be coming back, but Chris Boyd will have to lead that line again. Only 8 goals last season.
He's going to have to as well. And Killie was the top goal scorer last year. He left in the January, so this man here, Chris Boyd, it's a lot of responsibility for him to come up with the goals, because at the moment it doesn't look as if there's a great deal of options up there.
Samizadeh joined from Bolton, as I said, but do you think more strikers to come? Would you hope, if you were a Killie fan, they'd bring more in?
Yeah, I think he'll be looking to bring, but he has to bring in better, doesn't he? And it isn't easy at this stage to get better than what you've got in. It'll be important the likes of Frizzell gets beyond Chris Boyd tonight, because he'll come and show to feet, but he can't move the other way.
OK, guys, thank you very much for now. Up next, we will meet the Ayr United players, hoping to inflict some pain on their big rivals. They may be 2 divisions apart now, but the honest men believe they can pull off an early season surprise. Welcome back. We're almost set to go here, an Ayrshire derby to kick off the Betfred Cup in 2017. Michael Stewart's with me, and when you look around this ground, well, this is exactly what we wanted to kick things off with.
100%, Darryl. When we made the cup draw last month down in the studios, you looked at this game, and this is exactly what the Betfred Cup was all about. Stadium full, fans excited for the game, the pitch is in wonderful condition. All eyes are on this. This is the only game on the competition tonight. Really looking forward to it.
They are 2 leagues apart now, these teams.
Yes, you don't get to see
the gap here, United.
Yeah, I don't see any reason. That's the beauty of the competition starting early. You can catch the top teams a little bit cold, and I don't see any reason why Ayr won't be going into this game fully confident that they can cause a bit of an upset in the local derby.
And I heard some of the Kilmarnock players were saying this week that last season they weren't ready for this competition. They were using it basically
to build up.
They did, and they wanted to build up their fitness. I think they got a surprise, Lee Clark's men. They don't want to make that mistake again, particularly against their rivals.
Definitely, the crowd are already, having a bit of banter amongst each other, singing back and forward. You don't want to lose a derby game. There is no question of that. And as I said before, all eyes on this. The only game in the competition tonight. The cameras are here. a really good game to look forward to.
And the locals know all about it. Players like Chris Boyd.
Yep, he'll definitely not want to lose it. He'll be getting a little bit of a ribbing if he comes away on the losing side here tonight.
Kilmarnock will want to win. They've not won here in 24 years. Right, time to hand over to your match commentators, Stephen Craigan, Chris Sutton and Rory Hamilton.
Well, thank you very much, Darryl. It's time for Ayrshire and Somerset Park to take centre stage for the opening of the domestic season here in Scotland. And what a game to get us off and running. It's an honest and honourable derby, one that has been all too infrequent of recent years, but in a way that makes it all the more special. The rivalry between Ayr United and Kilmarnock dates back over a century, never fails to provide plenty of passion and drama. Ian McCall is working with a full-time squad, but as a result lost his goalkeeper Greg Fleming to Peterhead, so Jordan Hart comes in for just his second start for the club. Andy Geoghegan and Chris Higgins come into the back four after just having joined the club. Michael Moore makes his return to Somerset Park to partner Craig Moore in attack. Lee McCulloch has also been a busy man in the market. Former Alloa left-back Callum Waters goes straight into the defence, where he is joined by the familiar Stephen O'Donnell and Kirk Broadfoot. Alan Power brings further experience to the midfield. Well, Chris, talk us through the tactics.
I think there will be a 4-4-2 or a 4-4-1-1. Moffat will play just off Moore up front. He'll stretch that back line. The surprise, Andy Geoghegan at right back. Not a familiar position for him. Key battle against Jones.
And these Kilmarnock players will want to give their travelling fans a really good night here down at Somerset Park. Of course, Chris Boyd will always lead the line, but I think there's an acceptance that Frizzell have to get more goals and Jones has to get more goals. McKenzie has to get involved more. So a big night for Lee McCulloch and this Kilmarnock side.
Well, the managerial life has always been an adventure for Ian McCall. It now all starts for Lee McCulloch, making his full-time managerial debut here at the home of Kilmarnock's greatest rivals. And Chris Boyd, as ever, he will be so up for this. He's been outspoken in the build-up to this game. He will receive his stick, that's for sure, but he will also dish it out. We are ready to go. Start of the 2017-18 season is upon us. A night that will see a new chapter written in this great old rivalry. Important, Chris, for both sides to settle early. The 6,000 inside Somerset Park, which is a lot more than they'll be used to.
It's a huge game for both sides. Kilmarnock sloppy last season in the Betfred Cup, knocked out in the early stages, but it's about responding. A disappointing season, relegated, setting the stall out and really putting Kilmarnock under pressure.
Stephen, that was certainly something that's been talked about for Kilmarnock in the build-up, that they almost treated the Betfred Cup as their pre-season last season, and after the training camp in La Manga and the game against Livingston, they're certainly determined to get into this competitive start.
Yeah, you would think, you know, a local derby would soon get rid of all the thoughts of taking it easy and just coasting through the Betfred Cup. It'll be competitive, it'll be exciting, the pitch is slick, which means things will just speed up a little bit more, so really all set for a cracking match.
Robbie Crawford just knocking the ball out of play there. He's just signed a new one-year contract. Big interest from Premiership clubs in the midfielder. Knocked away by Scott Boyd. Back into the back four, plenty of experience there. That's something certainly that Lee McCulloch has looked to add, because there is a very good young heart to this Kilmarnock side, which was certainly displayed at the Toulon tournament over the summer. A strong challenge coming in from Andy Geoghegan. Well, Chris, you wondered whether he'd slot in at right back. That was some start.
Yeah, it's a key battle, isn't it? Andy Geoghegan has gone for experience in the corners down that right-hand side. Jones will offer that pace.
Swung in by Waters and hit it away. So Kilmarnock will look to attack this left-hand side, and with Jordan Jones, certainly from what we saw of him towards the end of last season, the man who arrived from Middlesbrough, he can be a real threat.
Well, he's such an entertainer, Rory. You know, he just wants to take people on. He's got pace. You can see when the play's on the other side, he detaches himself, stands right in this touchline. He wants as much space as possible because he fancies himself to take the right back Andy Geoghegan on.
This is Kirk Broadfoot back in Scottish football after a few years down at Blackpool and then Rotherham after his time with St Mirren and Rangers. Scotland cap as well. Back from Dade and then forward by Geoghegan, and Scott Boyd just under a touch of pressure from Craig Moore, who's been on loan here for the last 2 seasons. Made his move permanent, and Stephen, a player you'll know well.
Yeah, he's just a young player who needs to play games, Rory. Just needs to get down and get himself 30, 40 games on a consistent basis.
Sliding the ball into middle, Kilmarnock defence doing their job and clearing, and the ball will skid off the surface and make its way all the way to Jordan Hart, who is making his 50th senior appearance, but 47 of them have been with Annan Athletic. 21 years of age. Big game to be thrown into. Waters. Boyd to search out his namesake, Chris Boyd. It's knocked on nicely to Adam Frizzell. O'Donnell searching out the run of McKenzie, and he finds him. Rory McKenzie looking to turn. Ball well taken by Hart.
You just still see the threat that Chris Boyd had. You know, when under pressure, Kilmarnock can just throw it forward. Whether it's a diagonal, whether it's a straight ball to the pitch, Chris will always look to win the flick-ons, which is important. Why McKenzie has to get involved and Frizzell has to get involved, as well as Jordan Jones.
The ball evading him. This is Chris Higgins. Clyde and Dunfermline player. His release from Queen of the South. Delivers long, and Moffat will be the target for those balls. Pick up the loose one. Michael Moffat on his return to United. Both he and Andy Geoghegan used to be here.
Looking at Broadfoot and Boyd, they should be able to deal with Moffat. Not the biggest as in, doesn't really offer real physical presence.
He was on Kilmarnock. 5 senior goals for United and Dunfermline. Certainly knows where the back of the net is, and here he is peeling off Boyd and just about managing to keep the ball in play. Back it comes to Geoghegan, but he just couldn't quite sort out his feet and knocks it out for a goal kick.
Wasn't the best pass. Was it a poor touch?
The game hasn't really settled, has it? You know, you're looking for someone to put the foot in the ball and just slow the game down, have a little bit of composure, just make 2 or 3 passes amongst the side. But at the minute, it's 1 pass, 2 passes through forward, so lacking a little bit of quality at the minute.
Did derbies ever settle?
Well, they should do. You know, I think that's when your good players stand out, Rory. You know, when everything's so fast and furious that you can just take a touch and just settle things down.
Captain Ross Docherty just calming things down with the ball out to Geoghegan, and this is Declan McDade. Touch. Boyd and Jamie MacDonald gets the ironic cheers for knocking the ball out of play. Back with the #1 jersey.
He did the right thing, took no chances.
Geoghegan has seen plenty of the ball early on, and now Docherty. season. Broadfoot just getting a bit of a late challenge here.
Yeah, Moore just shoving Broadfoot. Broadfoot protesting. Clear foul.
Bit of a mismatch in size there.
Sometimes you just have to make your presence felt. You can't do it when you've got the ball. Sometimes you just got to leave a little bit on just to say, I'm here, I'm about, and we're going to try and cause you problems.
Higgins finds McDade. Past Waters. This is a Group E match. Clyde meets Annan tomorrow. Dumbarton have the weekend off. Dumbarton certainly know all about having to get their campaign up and running with a good start. And now here is Jordan Jones. He's got McKenzie outside him. The pass was too heavy.
Speaking to him, McCall, before the game, he said that we'll try and play. They won't just launch the ball forward, try and play through that midfield.
Just as they have done there, it's Moffat to McDade. And now Doherty, and it might open up for the captain. And the first shot on goal, it's easy enough for Jamie MacDonald to handle.
No real power. A couple of passes there in midfield. His left foot Doherty may have taken a slight deflection.
It was Nicky Devlin's move to Walsall that released the captain's armband. Ross Doherty grateful to get a hold of it as Jordan Jones' danger was just sniffed out. Well, this is Ian McCall's 8th club in management. It has always been quite an adventure for him. Relegated after finishing bottom of the championship last year, but he says he's been astonished by the reaction that he's got from his players over the summer. There's Stephen O'Donnell. Comes off Paddy Boyle, the mainstay at left back. O'Donnell, no recipient of the pass. Frizzell just moved away from the intended area. Well, McCullough was just appointed as the full-time manager in June. He has been the interim manager on 2 occasions and oversaw the end of last season after Lee Clark's departure to Bury.
I think Lee will be expecting a little bit better from the side. You know, they have no real fluency in the game so far. You know, McKenzie's not getting in the ball. Frizzell, they're much better player than what he's shown so far. So it's just settling down, making those passes. Yes, it's still pre-season, but it's a competitive fixture that he'll want to win.
There's certainly one thing, Stephen, that Lee McCullough talked about, and it is maybe reflected in his signings about reclaiming the identity of Kilmarnock that's maybe been lacking over the last few years.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, Lee Clark last summer brought so many loanees in, just as we see a clear free kick for Ayr United. But, you know, he wants to get young players coming through the academy, players who are associated with Scotland, associated with Kilmarnock.
It's nicely worked, but Moore's pass cleared up by Stephen O'Donnell. Higgins into Doherty, and just looking to press the midfield through Alan Power. The joy for Dade, who's certainly saying that he wants the ball to feet rather than over the top.
Just edging the possession.
That's charged down by Jamie Adams, and that forces Scott Boyd into knocking it out for a throw. Jamie Adams, formerly of Kilmarnock as well, a handful of appearances. Here's McDade. He's away from Jones. Dose of his own medicine. Good ball in too, and Boyd could only get a touch on it.
Terrific from McKenzie. Great feet, good ball into a dangerous area. Boyd didn't get enough on that clearance. Should have gone with his head.
Moffat. Power battling away. Certainly what you can expect to see from the man who left Lincoln City and signed on a 2-year contract. Boyd. Docherty. Seems like a use of the arm.
There has to be a handball.
No protest from the captain, and Kilmarnock gets on with it quickly. For Jones. Waters. Higgins could cut in and halt the attack, but here comes Waters again. Forward it comes from Power, and the ricochet will bring the ball to Jones, who's just slightly overhit his cross. Apologises to the men in the middle.
It was a poor ball, wasn't it? Chris Boyd, the only Kilmarnock player in the box. It's important that McKenzie and Frizzell really attack that box when the ball's in the wide area.
Well, it's certainly something that Lee McCulloch has to address, is the lack of goals. They were the lowest scorers outside of Inverness, Caledonian Thistle in the Premiership last season. Not something you can often say for a team that has Chris Boyd in it, though. Boyd knocks it down, but here's McDade. Docherty spreads the play open for Paddy Boyle. Forward it comes to Crawford, who didn't quite get the first touch he was looking for. Now Higgins to launch one up to Moore. He took it in well. Low centre of gravity and turns well. The battle between Crawford and Frizzell was won by the Kilmarnock man. And Michael Rose forward to McDade. Rose again, but Jamie Adams won't be able to catch that.
Just look at Declan McDade, you know, he's taking up some really good positions. He's coming in off the line, he's finding little pockets of space. Callum Waters doesn't know where to go tight, whether to drop off. He's already beat him down the right-hand side. So McDade's going to be an important player for Ayr as this game progresses. Can Ayr get him the ball as much as they possibly can?
They arrived last January after being released by Partick Thistle, Declan McDade.
I think he's also got a responsibility that when Jordan Jones picks the ball up, he's coming to double up and help Andy Geoghegan. I think he realises Jones is a huge threat as well, so it's a big night for him.
Yeah, the two number 11s potentially holding the key, certainly the creative key to this game. Rose looks long. Be mopped up all day long by Scott Boyd. Here's Moore though, as Ayr United looking to win the second ball. Throw comes in. Adams the target. McKenzie gets the head clear, and Boyd might look to break now through Jones, eyeing up his man, but McDade coming back, and Andy Geoghegan with the foul zone beating the referee comes across to stamp his authority on proceedings.
He has to go in the book. Only for that challenge. Geoghegan felt he got the ball. Just gets it with his heel. Well, I think for his reaction, punched the ball away, he should be booked.
You'd normally think in the rules that the fact that his reaction after, just petulance of just punching the ball. I think it's frustration because he got himself into a good position. He just slid in, he just didn't make enough contact with the ball, so maybe a little bit of frustration against himself.
John Beaton just giving him the benefit of the doubt. He refereed last season's final between Aberdeen and Celtic. Chris Boyd looks favourite here. Jones with the touch. It is Boyd. The ball did its job. Still there for Jones though. Crawford wins the challenge.
Jones looks to be the threat, doesn't he? Strong challenge.
Great determination from the Ayr players. You know, we saw Gagan early on, we see Crawford there. Not one to give an inch, knowing that these supporters know what it means to them to play against their big rivals and beat them. They're certainly transmitting through to the players.
No joy for Boyd, and Frizzell just waiting for the ball to drop. Here's McDade, he won that. Now Moffat. Being hounded and fouled. And Alan Power may just get a slight talking to.
John Beaton, quite correct. There was a little tug back on Moffat. John Beaton just played the advantage just there.
Michael Moffat gets his free kick. Quite a tussle with Alan Power, the man from Dublin.
That's what derbies are about. A little bit of passion, a little bit of afters. That's what we want to see.
Rolls towards Adams, who seems to be the man that they can look to aim for. High balls. Well, all continues tomorrow in the Betfred Cup. We're off to Hampden, the National Stadium for Queen's Park against Motherwell. That's from 2:30 on BT Sport 1. And then next Friday night, Hibernian back in the big time and they face Ross County. That's Friday night, 7:15 on BT Sport 1. And then on Saturday, completing these 3 games, Partick Thistle against St Mirren, another local rivalry. Should be very interesting group stages as they progress.
A little bit lopsided, Kilmarnock. Stephen with Frizzell off that right-hand side. Not a natural right winger.
No, he's not, and you can see that he's getting dragged into the pitch. You know, Paddy Boyd has had a little bit of space on that left-hand side. Frizzell's more interested in coming now.
Moffat did well there to feed his strike partner Moore, who wins the corner, and that gets the home crowd going.
I think it's fair to say that Moore and Moffat have been lively, Chris. You know, they've been getting about, they've been trying to take it in, they've been trying to run in behind, they're trying to be physical. Should be causing a few problems.
Indeed, Michael Rose is certainly a big target, and that's Adams, and what a save! But it comes, and it was Moore, and it's just the side netting. And Ayr United inches away from the opening.
Kilmarnock have that at the edge on line. That's a free head. It's a really smart save, isn't it, from MacDonald down to his right-hand side. Decent save as it pops out. He's got to hit the target there more.
Well, it's 2 great opportunities, and a header from 6 yards. Jamie Adams will feel that he has to score. The ball then comes to Craig Moore, and he will genuinely feel he has to score. So it's a huge let-off for Kilmarnock. But in the pattern of the game, Ayr United have been better than Kilmarnock, and probably deserve, unfortunately not, but probably deserve to be ahead.
Jamie Adams so close. But what a save it was from Jamie MacDonald.
Screaming, puts it in.
Well, in the main, he will be quite happy. You don't see it too often from Ian McCall. Rory McKenzie. Foul given against Ross Docherty. Broadfoot, no takers though. Well, we're around about 50-50 in terms of the crowd, about 3,000 in the home end, down at the Somerset Road, and also at the railway end, which is housing the majority of the 3,000 Kilmarnock supporters. Power won that against Geoghegan. And here goes Jones, taken down by McDade. That interesting battle continues.
Stephen touched on it earlier. McDade is working ever so hard, trying to double up. Give Geoghegan a hand. The card will come out eventually.
John Beaton not too keen on the quick free kick. So it's play to settle here. And we'll leave it to Adam Frizzell. Frizzell and Jones over the free kick. Frizzell gives the signal to the men in the middle. Broadfoot goes down, appealed for the infringement to go his way, but he is the man in fact penalised.
There's a lot of shoving in there. Boyd tries to get round the back. Does go down. A rugby tackle on Broadfoot there. Broadfoot is backing in 6-1. Stephen?
I think he's a little bit unfortunate. You know, Jamie Adams is the wrong side of him. You know, he has to go through Broadfoot to get to the ball. So just that little tug. You know, sometimes referees don't catch it on, but you see Broadfoot is on the right side of him. For me, Chris, that could be a penalty kick. I generally feel Jamie Adams has made no attempt to play the ball and it's just hauled Broadfoot down.
Docherty. Broadfoot should just be able to see that out for the goal kick.
Broadfoot initially just backs and uses his elbow. You could argue maybe lucky to get away with that, Stephen.
I still think penalty kick. It'll be interesting to see what Michael says at half-time. You know Darrell will sit in the fence, but it'll be interesting to see what Michael says.
More fitting in this game would have been a rugby park.
Dun.
It's Crawford. MacDonald's clearance goes high and the roof of the main stand. Played. We're still waiting the breakthrough in this Ayrshire derby. There were only 3 0-0s in last season's Betfred Cup. 95 games in total, all 3 of them involved Albion Rovers. There's McDade. Waters couldn't keep it in play. McDade looks to get on with it quickly. McKenzie can steal in, and Jones, as ever, first thought in his mind is to get the head down and run down that byline. Geoghegan. Power.
They just look brighter, don't they? You know, even that throw-in, Declan McDade picked it up, took it quick, trying to get the thing going a little bit quicker, moving the ball a little bit better. You know, Ian McCall did say to Chris ahead of the game, we will try and play, we will try and pass the ball, and I think he's been true to his word. This team have definitely been slightly better. He'll be pleased with the start of the side of me.
Slightly ahead in terms of their preparation. They have played 3 games in pre-season to Kilmarnock's 1, and there was a late challenge there from Adam Frizzell.
There's not too much in that, really. He does catch him. I think he's just trying to shut down. All being kicked forward. Hasn't really got in the game yet, though, Adam Frizzell.
So same for Johnny Ball. Play goes on. And this is Jones. Using Doherty. Now venturing infield. Gets the help from Power. Ian Wilson, the other man in the middle of the midfield for Kilmarnock. Tall, rangy man on the ball now and just knocking it back to his goalkeeper. Neatly done by Waters. Power to Frizzell. Power again, and here's Wilson. Kilmarnock just look to get their foot on the ball and enjoy a spell of possession. And now to release Rory McKenzie, the man who scored the winner the last time these teams met 3 years ago. It's Waters searching for Boyd. Wilson tempted into the shot. Power to Waters. Now Jones into the penalty area now. Gagan timed it perfectly.
Stuck to his task well. Stayed on his feet, stopped the cross. The first bit of sustained pressure from Kilmarnock. They made some passes in the middle of the park.
Forward come Scott Boyd and Broadfoot and O'Donnell. Wilson lurking on the edge of the area. Plenty of targets for Adam Frizzell to aim at here. It's left-footed and one coming in the back is Alan Power. But he got it all wrong.
That was off the training ground. Brilliantly worked. Alan Power just coming into the picture now, really late. Sees it all the way. Should do better. Got to hit the target.
I think it's something that Lee McCulloch does very well. You know, they work in the set plays, particularly corner kicks. They always want to come up with something a little bit different, confuse the opposition. That worked ever so well until Alan Power landed on the ball and unfortunately nearly put it out of the stadium. But it just shows they're all working in these things, and they're vital set plays that can win you games.
Club captain at City last season on their magnificent FA Cup run. It's given away though, and here goes Crawford eating at the ground, and it's taken on by Moore, and again it's Jamie MacDonald called into action.
A real chance. Really sloppy pass. Does O'Donnell get back and make a challenge? Moore just carries his run on. It's a smart save down to his left. I think Moore should do better.
I think Craig Moore will feel he should have done better. But Jimmy MacDonald, again, the man that's keeping Kilmarnock in the game. But square passes, I hate square passes in football. There's a huge risk for Alan Power to do that. Almost the side went behind because of it.
Lost his place to Woodman, who arrived on loan from Newcastle United last season, but certainly proving that he is more than up to it to reclaim that jersey.
Oh, doesn't get enough purchase on the shot. You've seen plenty of him, Stephen. Is he a natural finisher?
He's quite instinctive, Chris. You know, I wouldn't say he's natural and he senses things, but when opportunities like that normally come along, he would put them away. So he'll be disappointed.
Well, no chances taken by Paddy Boyle, and it will be another Kilmarnock corner.
Just trying to hit Chris Boyd and get runners off him.
Ricocheting there, could go anywhere. Frizzell will look to cause similar confusion with this corner kick. It's looping towards Chris Boyd at the back. O'Donnell's header, and will easily find the arms of Jordan Hart. Higgins and Moffat, but he controlled it with the arm. Spotted by the eagle-eyed John Beaton. Goals pointed in 2015. He had been out of the game for almost 4 years. steals in ahead of Jones, who appreciated the diagonal pass.
You know, we were surprised that Higgins was playing right back, but he certainly showed himself to be comfortable playing in that position. He's aggressive, he can defend 1v1 very well, and you know, he has kept Jordan Jones quiet where possible.
MacDonald, wrestling match with Crawford. Well, we wondered, Stephen, if David Ferguson, who was only signed yesterday from Motherwell, whether he would come in and slot in at right back, but more of a centre back from your experience.
Well, it is. You know, I think it's just Ian McCall must know him, you know, a little bit better. You know, he's only just been in a couple of days, so maybe just want him time just to settle in and feel his way in. You know, David's great attributes, good 1v1 defender, plenty of pace. So, but you know, certainly the decision to play Andy Geoghegan has been a good one.
Alan Forrest also on the bench. He would usually be a starter for Ayr United, but took a knock and missed training yesterday. Cleared by Broadfoot. Likewise will be operating mainly as a centre back in Lee McCullough's back four. Equally astute at right back. Certainly gives them options. Andy Geoghegan will take the throw for Ayr United. Flick on. But now, through Jones, they can break. And Jones will make it over the halfway line, and Crawford sees an end to that run, and no free kick. The cheers come from the home fans. McDade now. This has gone a little quiet in the last few minutes, and Boyd now concedes the free kick to Michael Moffat.
Silly challenge. Moffat had actually miscontrolled the ball, but Boyd goes to ground. Silly one.
Well, and we've seen Ayr causing problems from set plays. Come on, we'll have to certainly get tighter to Jamie Adams and co. It looked like a man was being held there before Michael Rose fired it well over the top.
There's no doubt he's the threat. You know, he's the one player who they think can cause problems in the box. Stephen O'Donnell does really well, gets his body in between man and ball, and Jamie Adams has to bring him down.
Ayr United, the League Cup runners-up in 2002. Kilmarnock winners in 2012. Of course, after that victory in the semi-final at Hampden against their great rivals Ayr United in front of 25,000 people at the National Stadium. It does show the potential size of both these clubs. Dean Shields with an extra time winner that day to take Kilmarnock into the final. The rest is history. And Dieter van Turnhout will live long in the memory of Kilmarnock fans.
Wouldn't they just love another day out? But you know, you would think they're going to have to improve. You know, Lee has said he wants 3 or 4 players. You can see they're 3 or 4 players away from where he would want them to be. I think even the team tonight are just a yard away. Everything they're doing, they're just a little bit short. Maybe it's the preparation hasn't been long enough, but you think it will have to improve in the coming weeks.
So what positions then?
Well, apart from Jordan Jones, you think as if they need a little bit of pace. You know, probably a midfield player who can get on the ball and make passes as well would be another one. You know, so pace up top, there'll be another centre forward just to complement Chris Boyd. Probably someone in the midfield who can get on the ball and try and make things happen.
Greg Kiltie suffered that nasty injury in the last game of last season against Ross County. That will be a big loss after he'd just come back from long-term injury. The throw will go Ayr United's way. Paddy Boyle. Moffat. Crawford to shake the ball onto his right foot. He's got away from his man too. who was fouling him, and the free kick goes against Kirk Broadfoot.
John Beaton, quite right, good feet. That little shift there. Broadfoot pulls him back. Not me, ref.
It's just always the wrong side of him, isn't he? You know, he can never get level with him. He's always clawing at him and trying to pull him back. So, excellent play by Robbie Crawford.
Dead. Just after a slight delay. We'll have the opportunity to deliver a teasing ball. Waiting, big man in the middle. It is McDade. He had a goal instead, trying to catch Jamie MacDonald off guard.
I just wonder whether MacDonald felt he should have left that, just by the way he looked back. It's there.
He's probably always drifting wide.
Take any chances, and there goes the header, and it's Andy Gigan who opens the score for United. The League One side lead against their great rivals. It's Ayr United 1, Kilmarnock 0.
Well, they've had the warning, haven't they, from set pieces. Should have scored earlier. Gigan gets a free run. It's an easy header, just has to control the header. Down into the corner, MacDonald from that range. Absolutely no chance, deserved.
Absolutely deserved. I think Ayr United have been the better side in the first half. Chris exactly is right. They've had the warning signs, they've given up free headers in the box. There was Frizzell, he completely switched off. And Andy Gigan wasn't going to do what Jamie Adams didn't do. He put it in the back of the net, smashed it in. Fully deserved 1-0.
Kilmarnock's woes on this ground continue for now. Haven't won here since January 1993. 24 years since Ian Porteous scored with a back heel. As you say, it's been coming. Kilmarnock had the warnings, and this time Andy Gigan makes no mistake on his second debut for the club.
I think it's fair to say there is genuine rivalry. You know, there's a dislike between both sets of supporters. Of course, the players sometimes don't get involved and all that, but there's a genuine dislike between these supporters. We can hear the Ayr fans now getting behind their side. One team in Ayrshire, they're singing, "Can Kilmarnock respond?"
And it's also worth noting there are a number of local lads on the pitch, and they will know exactly what this fixture means. Broadfoot. Scott Boyd. Donald. Second chance, but the throw will not go his way.
Ball. Be delighted. See Gigan. What Frizzell's doing. Just lets him just drift off him. Free run. Tucked it away well.
Heart of that 2012 semi-final, Andy Gigan played in that game, and he's looking to get his revenge this evening. Certainly enjoys the Betfred Cup. He scored 5 times last season for Dunfermline, and 4 of them came in the group stages last season. Tower to Waters. And now Jones. Kilmarnock will look to the left winger to get them back into this. Frizzell to Waters. Carrying ball in, and Moffat was just waiting on that one. And it comes to McKenzie. Not had the time to get the shot in. Power. Now to O'Donnell. McKenzie offering the run forward. That was a good one too. And Dave will keep this in.
Tell you what, Higgins did really well there at the far post. Held his ground, was strong, cleared it.
Well, no player getting a moment to breathe here as we enter the last 3 minutes of the half. Look for something before they will feel the wrath of their manager, Lee McCullum, for 15 minutes.
I think it's just a bit managed the next 2 or 3 minutes for Ayr United. They've done the hard work, they've got themselves in front, just compose themselves, play the game in the Kilmarnock half, keep it away from your goal, get to half time, regroup and freshen up.
Take a bit of a sting out of proceedings. This will suit Ayr very nicely. Dade. Kilmarnock throw.
No real pattern to Kilmarnock's play at all. Stephen played through midfield, just hit long, aimless balls up to Chris Boyd. He hasn't been overly mobile.
It's a sore one here. The challenge has been penalised. Rose got the challenge from Jordan Jones.
Jones has inadvertently caught him with his left foot. I don't think there was any malice in that.
I think just by standing on his foot, almost made his ankle just turn slightly, so important for him to get into half time, get the ice on it, see the physio and be strong enough to come out in the second half, because I think Chris Higgins and Michael Rose have done very well.
Michael Rose, the man signed from Aberdeen, from Bridge of Dawn, up in the northeast. Moffat, curling effort. Rise of anticipation amongst the home support on the North Terrace here. All standing underneath us as the half-time whistle goes, and it's Andy Geoghegan's goal which separates the two teams. As things stand, Ayr United lead the Ayrshire derby at Somerset Park. At half-time, it's Ayr United 1, Kilmarnock 0. Welcome back, a review of the first half of the Ayrshire derby to come. But first of all, let me tell you, UFC returns to Glasgow as Gunnar Nelson and Santiago Ponzinibbio on Sunday night at 6 o'clock go head-to-head for a huge welterweight showdown. Scotland's Joanne Calderwood and Stevie Ray feature on an exciting undercard as well. Michael Stewart is with us tonight, and it's a great first half for Ayr United of League One against top flight Kilmarnock. Andy Geoghegan, who's in his second spell at the club, got the goal that has taught Ayr United ahead, and the fans all around us here excited, rightly so, Michael.
Yeah, completely understandable, and you know, in a tight game, you know, one that I wouldn't say either side has dominated the first half. To go in 1-0 up has certainly made the home fans very happy at half-time.
Very poor goal from Kilmarnock's point of view,
yeah,
isn't it? And it's a set piece and wide open header.
Well, you can see that 6-yard box area, the centre of the goals, is wide open, but you see Frizzell is marking Geoghegan, and he's pointing as if to say, this isn't my man, somebody else has got to get him, and he's left, you know, a yard behind him, and he gets a free run, edge of the 6-yard box, a free header. It's an absolutely terrible goal for Kilmarnock to lose, but they had been warned before. You know, Jamie Adams got in and had a free header as well. So Lee McCulloch will definitely be in there at half-time, making sure everybody knows who they might be picking up at half-time.
Yeah, let's take a look at that very chance. Jamie Adams again wide open in the box. Jamie MacDonald with a good save here. His place in the team, Jamie MacDonald, remember, that's in question because Cammy Bell, they're trying to get him back to the club, but clear chances for error here.
Yeah, well, you see this time it's Stephen O'Donnell that's marking him, but Jamie Adams just does a nice little step in behind him, and then Moore at the back post. They'll be disappointed he's not been able to work Jamie MacDonald more. But Jamie MacDonald's had a couple of good saves in that first half.
That's sloppy again. Alan Power giving the ball away.
You know, a crossfield pass like that, getting cut out. But this is a down low to his left. That's a good save from Jamie MacDonald. You know, you see the shot coming in from Moore this time. But you know, probably, as I said, nobody's really dominated the first half. But Ayr, I would say, have had the better chances. Kilmarnock have been wasteful in the final third. You know, you heard Chris in commentary there just saying no real partner play other than thumping aimless balls up to Chris Boyd, and it's been fruitless. And
we said at the start of the programme, they're the low scorers in the top flight last season. Where would the goals come from? Not many chances, but one penalty shout in that first half, and Stephen Craigan, I think, thought this was a penalty. Chris Sutton, the opposite. So you get the casting vote, Michael.
Well, if it had been given a penalty, I would not be surprised. You see
Broadfoot here.
Yeah, you see Kurt Broadfoot right in the middle of the picture there. He steps back from an offside position, and he probably fouls the Ayr defender initially. But after that, you know,
how can it be a penalty then if he's fouled him initially?
Well, I'm just saying, if a penalty had been given, I wouldn't have been surprised, because, you know, from the position the referee's in, he might not have seen that initial contact, and he, you know, getting dragged down, he could easily have given away the penalty.
So you think it was or wasn't?
I don't think it was a penalty, because I think Kurt Broadfoot has fouled the Ayr defender first of all, but it would have been, I wouldn't have been overly surprised if it had been given, because you're running the risk putting your arms round Kurt Broadfoot after he's fouled and bringing him down. You see there, that's a foul, but Kurt Broadfoot has initially fouled him.
He was trying to block him, but it's clear that they work a lot on set pieces. We saw that, didn't we, in the first 45?
Yeah, you know, like Ayr United there with the goal they've scored, and when Jamie Adams got in as well, there's a couple of instances there in the first half where Kilmarnock have got, I think it was Powers round the back in one of the chances, and there was a couple others where you can tell Lee McCulloch has worked on set plays.
OK, Michael, thank you very much for now. So Ayr United of League One are leading against Premiership Kilmarnock here tonight, and the Killie fans are not happy about it. This is an important derby for them. They'll expect a comeback. A few smiles in there, though. We'll be back shortly. So it's Ayr United 1, Kilmarnock 0 at half-time, and we did pose a question, where would the goals come from? And that is a new signing in for Kilmarnock and Lee McCulloch this season. That's Alex Samizadeh, 18-year-old who's on loan from Bolton. I guess all the Killie fans in the away end will want to know, can this guy make a difference this season? Lee McCulloch clearly thinks he can, because he says he'll be a fan favourite.
Well, you can see he's not bad at keeping up. I'm sure the Kilmarnock fans will just be wanting to know he can put the ball in the back of the net. And, you know, it'll be interesting to see if Alex Samizadeh,
I'll give you that one, yeah.
We'll go with that. If he comes on and see if he can make a difference. But it's also not just the strikers, you've got to see the guys in behind, McKenzie, Frizzell, Jones, they've got to start chipping in with goals as well.
OK, thank you, Michael. Here we go for the second half. Back over to Stephen Craigan, Chris Sutton and Rory Hamilton.
Good stuff, Darrell. Well, it's 8.5 years since Kilmarnock made the trip down the A77 and made a stop off here at Somerset Park. 24 years since their last win. That came back when they were playing in the same division, 92-93. It's only 13 miles between Somerset Park and Rugby Park, but these two, they know each other very well indeed, and they've got 45 minutes of action, possibly more, to go. Remember, in this Betfred Cup group stages, if it does end in a draw, the game will go to penalties. 3 points for a win, 1 for a draw, and then an extra bonus point is on offer if you can win the penalty shootout. Penalty shootouts last season's competition. Both sides. Broadfoot aims for Chris Boyd. Here comes Stephen O'Donnell. by Wilson. Scott Boyd and an early touch for Jamie MacDonald. He possibly had a few too many for his liking in that first 45 minutes. Suddenly 2 key saves from the goalkeeper. Tower turns back to Kirk Broadfoot. Scott Boyd, formerly of Ross County. Broadfoot. Nice turn by Rory McKenzie. He got wrong side of Crawford. Now Frizzell. Back to McKenzie. It's a brighter start to the second half from Kilmarnock, certainly.
We expected a response from Kilmarnock. Ooh, a powder puff, you have to say that, in the first half going forward. Sure. Right at half-time. Surprised they didn't make changes, Stephen, Kilmarnock?
Well, I think he's just given them the benefit of the doubt. You know, he will have spoken about half-time and said we have to improve. If they don't improve, you'd expect the next 5 or 10 minutes to make changes. So I think he's almost just backing his players and trying to give them a little bit of support.
Chance there between Waters and Adams.
That's great that they both get up. Wholehearted, little shove in the back there. Both have eyes on the ball. Get on with it.
Here's Wilson, but that is a loose pass. Picked up by Crawford, given away by Moore. And here goes MacDonald. Wilson's header. Frizzell isn't going to win too many high balls against Jamie Adams. Doherty.
Frizzell's playing more centrally. Now with McKenzie playing narrow off the right. They are lopsided, Stephen.
Yeah, it's as if they lack an out-and-out winger in this 11. You know, Dom Thomas is on the bench, for example, who can play either side, but I think Frizzell wants to play in the pitch. McKenzie wants to play in the pitch, so it's almost against their natural instinct where they're playing at this moment in time.
Free kick for United. And it will be Andy Geoghegan, right-footed. It's far too close to Jamie MacDonald. Easy for the Kilmarnock goalkeeper. MacDonald. Michael Rose's header clear. This is McDade, who's certainly a bright spark in the first half. And Moffat goes down under Power's challenge. The referee quite happy with proceedings. MacDonald. Official fans will remember him fondly bombing up the right flank at Firhill. And that ball in from Jordan Jones. Well, the foul going Ayr United's way. Chris Boyd clattering into the goalkeeper.
Miscued from Rose. What is he protesting about? Only one arm.
Captain for Kilmarnock. Two-time League Cup winner. The foul.
I think he's unlucky. I think he gets wrong side of Jones, just eases him out, uses his body well.
It's a poor free kick. You know, it's just a simple ball up the pitch, and I think Declan McDade, who we've continually spoke about, influencing the game, bright, alive in the game, aware of what's going on. Soft free kick.
Comes the way of Frizzell. And now to Jones. Good position this for Kilmarnock. If Jones can work some of his magic, he goes to do it. The away support is hopefully. Oh, no free kick this time. Rose. It goes to MacDonald. Lovely touch there by McDade. It comes to the winger, but Frizzell has it. It's helter-skelter pace at the moment.
In a good position. Jones has dived out. Why no yellow card, Stephen?
I tell you what, but you just think on that contact, Chris, you know, the fact that Geoghegan has left the leg lying, it could have been a penalty kick, but you're correct the second one. John Beaton has let a lot of things go tonight, a lot of soft free kicks, and he hasn't brought out yellows.
Well, a change has happened. Lee McCulloch has made his move. Ian Wilson is off. Dominic Thomas is on. He was only signed on Wednesday, and you would have thought they were all, as we said, they were crying out for a winger. Stephen, you called it. Dom Thomas can certainly play down the right-hand side, and here he is.
Listen, Dom's an entertainer. He wants to take men on. He's positive in possession. At times his work ethic going back the pitch is questionable, but certainly 1v1. Very, very good.
First chance to swing one in, but it's headed clear. Chris Higgins. Thomas on. Rory McKenzie. Back to Thomas. Seen plenty of the ball. His first moments as a Kilmarnock player.
No surprise, Stephen Motherwell let Thomas go.
No, I'm not, because he wasn't going to be in the first 11. You know, there's 3 players who play in wide areas who are just ahead of him at this moment in time. And at Tom's age of nearly 21, he needs to go and play first-team football. He felt he wanted to leave the club. He said, I don't want to play here anymore, I want to move on. So the club accepted it.
That Motherwell's loss is their gain and they can get the best out of him. Certainly is a young man with plenty of talent. Down goes another former Motherwell man in the shape of Craig Moore. Park being closed down there. The goalkeeper rather sliced his kick out, and McKenzie will have a go, but Hart back in position and down well to hang on to the ball.
Difficult save at all, really. The greatest kick out. Comfortable.
Moffat loses out to Scott Boyd. This is McDade. Frizzell for Kilmarnock. Michael Rose, who seems to have recovered from that knock at the end of the first half. Craig Moore. Moffat. Crawford's the man trying to get in at the back post, but MacDonald should be able to be in control of that situation and was pushed by Robbie Crawford.
Robbie Crawford knew he wasn't going to go on the ball. Stephen O'Donnell just waiting for the contact, just waiting for that little touch in the back. Quite easily goes over for a soft free kick.
O'Donnell forward. Clear for Higgins. Broadfoot trying to get a hold of Moore, but nothing illegal, says John Beaton. Scored every single away game in 2017. League One in the next 35 minutes, though, if they're to gain anything from this. And here goes Jones. He looks the most likely to make something happen. Fine challenge, though, to knock it out for a corner kick. Brilliant Jones.
And a good battle in that left-hand side. Good pace. What a tackle that was from Rose.
This is exactly the situation that Ayr United opened the scoring from. Jones looking to replicate it, but it's away by Docherty, and now Moore can worry for Kilmarnock on the break. Well, Broadfoot's done really well to keep that alive, goes down, wins the free kick. Well, that's persistence personified.
Another daft challenge. Broadfoot does well to keep it alive. Stays in. Needless challenge.
Great determination, but you know, silly from Paddy Boyd. A dangerous situation. Kilmarnock are a big side. Got to put the ball in the box, so have to be vigilant.
Thomas entrusted with the responsibility. It's a very good one indeed. Knocked over the top by Jimmy Adams. He had to get something on this.
It's all about the delivery. Terrific pace into a good area.
I think the questions are, you know, where's the attackers? Why are you not flooding that area? This is a great delivery. You've got to get in the end of it.
Kilmarnock have their tails up. And this is Frizzell to deliver. Boyd's at the back, but it's not clear. Only as far as Jones, and that's always a danger.
You want Motherwell letting a player go with that delivery, Stephen.
Yeah. So players are now judged by hitting one free kick.
Pretty good. Talented boy.
Brian Gilmore will be coming into the action.
I think Kilmarnock have definitely upped the pace. You know, they've tried to force the issue a little bit more. I still think they have issues that, you know, playing the ball from defence into attack. It has to be a little bit more quality. You can't just throw it up to Chris Boyd and hope he wins it every time. Maybe just sometimes play one extra pass and try and play through midfield.
Well, it looks like Michael Rose hasn't been able to recover from that knock. He got in the first half, and Brian Gilmore will come on. An ankle injury has cost Ayr United one of their centre-backs. And it looks like at the moment, Stephen, that Jamie Adams may just slot into the back four.
Yeah, I think we've seen that Jamie's aggressive, he's good in the air. You know, he's certainly made plenty of tackles tonight, so it'll be seamless for him to go in and play centre-half, and Brian Gilmore will just sit in that midfield in beside Rostock.
Indeed, does well again. And here is Gilmore out on the left-hand side into Crawford as Ayr United go in search of number 2, and it's hit by Broadfoot. And again, Jimmy MacDonald will laugh at this near post.
Smart save. A save you'd expect MacDonald to make. Nice touch there. Good weighted pass back. There's Boyle to hit it first time, trying to catch MacDonald out on that near post.
Sends Jordan Jones the wrong way.
I think actually Brian Gilmore's come out and played in the left, and Robbie Crawford has just moved in one, so a couple of positional changes from Ian McCall in Ayr United. He'll hope it just doesn't upset the rhythm. They've been in good form, they've been playing well. I hope it doesn't upset me too much.
Jordan Jones can't find a teammate. Craig Moore can't find a way through. And here's Alan Power. The invitation for Stephen O'Donnell to go forward. Thomas. Back it comes to O'Donnell. Thomas wants it back. And he's managed to gather a bit of space. Nice turn as well, and he's away from Boyle. And he's hauled back, and it will be another free kick. We've seen the danger from this position before from Dom Thomas. He made it himself here.
Massive threat.
I think they have a buyback. It could happen very soon, so if you keep going.
Dom Thomas now assessing his options, his new teammates in the middle. It's curled in, left-footed, Broadfoot got the touch on it but couldn't steer it on target.
I'll tell you the worry now, for losing Rose, they're losing that height from set pieces.
You just think somewhere along the line, if you keep allowing balls to come into your box, you're giving up free kicks in wide areas. Chris Boyd, Scott Boyd, Broadfoot, Stephen O'Donnell, they're a big threat. And sometimes you suddenly start getting deeper and going towards your own goal. So you, McCullough, want to cut out silly free kicks.
MacDonald just being closed down by McDade. Thomas, nice control and turn, but this time Boyle has his positioning right. Broadfoot to O'Donnell. Boyd gets the touch. Boyle away. Well, we've seen a slight change in the second half. Reverse from the first half, Chris.
Look, I think we expected a response, didn't we, from Kilmarnock? Just sitting in Kilmarnock, dominating possession.
Leaves there to look to threaten on the break. Just a strong challenge coming in from the captain, Ross Docherty.
I think it's fair to say that, you know, Ayr United put so much in to the opening 45 minutes. You just think somewhere along the line, because of the time of the season, they are going to fatigue a little bit. You know, they may have to just take a breather, suck up, you know, a little bit of possession. Just try and keep your shape as much as you possibly can, because they know Kilmarnock will come strong, but Ayr always a threat in the counter-attack.
Well, United beat Hamilton Academical in their opening game of the Betfred Cup last season. This one, all the more though. Scalp on the cards, but Kilmarnock doing everything that they can to try and change that, although it has to be said they really haven't threatened Jordan Hart as yet. Jimmy MacDonald being much the busier of the two goalkeepers. Boyd rises and finds Thomas. Zigzagging run from the winger. Power. Donald. He's just looking the other way. Scott Boyd. Broadfoot. It's headed away, but Docherty still had a job to do.
I just think it's Ayr United now who are struggling to make 2-3 passes. You know, they're getting the ball, they're being put under pressure, they're hooking it clear. They just need to try and make 2 or 3 passes in midfield, get McDade on the ball, get Gilmour on the ball, just to try and take them up the pitch, because if Craig Moore's isolated against the 2 central defenders, he's not going to win an awful lot.
There's nothing quite like a derby victory to set the tone for your entire season. Ayr United will certainly be targeting promotion back to the championship.
There is that, but the winners of this game tonight must fancy the chances of topping this group.
Clyde, Annan and Dumbarton, the other teams in the group. Kilmarnock would have started the group as heavy favourites. Ayr United turning that on its head right now.
One thing, the Kilmarnock centre-halves, they're not the most mobile. I'd like to see Moffat get higher earlier and more really try and get him behind that Kilmarnock centre-half pairing.
Moffat chasing, MacDonald back. MacDonald clears high into the Ayrshire night sky. Football back on BT Sport.
Hard to say if it's a free kick or not. There's not an awful lot in it. John Beaton's right on the spot. Brian Gilmer just getting goal side, so maybe that's why he gave the free kick.
It's Gilmore who is over the free kick for Ayr United, looking for a flicked header. Instead it is cleared. Mackay back into the box. Broadfoot away and then hammered clear by Rory McKenzie. Jones might fancy this, he's managed to keep it in. Dealt with between Doherty and Boyle. On it, going quickly through Waters. This time headed away by Higgins. Thomas again, always looking to turn and face goal. Charge into Geoghegan there. Again, no free kick. The game has certainly flowed a lot more in this second half. John Beaton letting a few 50-50s go.
Seen Ian McCall on the far side, almost ushering his team forward. He knows he can't just keep sitting. He's trying to get them up the pitch, but sometimes it's easier said than done when you're on the pitch. You want to just take that comfort and just sit back a little bit.
And now Gilmore. The ball into the box, just didn't quite have his angles right.
Just got to be braver on the ball there. Make some passes.
Jones past his man, but the ball won't stay in play. Well, the Betfred Cup continues this weekend. Queen's Park against Motherwell. That's tomorrow from Hampden on BT Sport 1. And then double-header next weekend as well. Friday night from 7:15, Ross County against Hibernian. That's also on BT Sport 1. And then on Saturday, July the 22nd, Partick Thistle against St Mirren. That is from 2:45 again, BT Sport 1.
Be a shock on the cards tomorrow, Stephen.
Well, it'll certainly be a good game. You know, we eventually end up at Hampden for the final, so it'll be nice to go in the earlier rounds. Motherwell made a lot of signings. Queen's Park have made a few new signings as well, having problems registering players, I believe. So it'll be an interesting game tomorrow, certainly. Full of excitement and hopefully good football.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when we come to our notes tomorrow and which Queen's Park players have been signed over the last 24 hours. Free kick is poor. And John Hart gratefully clutches that ball to his chest.
I think it's fair to say that, you know, Lee McCulloch will be frustrated, but, you know, that huge following support behind the goal. Haven't had an awful lot to shout about. Coming here full of expectation to beat their bitter rivals, but just come up a little bit short so far.
Well, there was certainly a confidence surrounding the club with the appointment of Lee McCulloch to give them some stability, and also the signings that he made. He's been very active in the transfer market, and a chance of 3 or 4 more potentially.
It's forward areas. Spoke about Kilmarnock struggling last season. Why no Samizadeh yet?
You almost think when you take Chris Boyd out of that front line, you lose all your physical presence, don't you? You know, there's no real target player.
But you also need movement.
O'Donnell into Thomas, and for a moment it just opened up nicely for Don Thomas. Doherty wins it and was then taken out of the play by Rory McKenzie. Well, giving him the build-up, Chris. Alex Samizadeh.
Lee McCulloch said he's going to be a fan's favourite. Not on the bench.
Well, he's joined on loan from Bolton Wanderers. And he's certainly been in and around the club for a while. They had to wait on clearance for him to play. He's gone through clearly. I hope so. McKenzie. Hart. Boyd closing down. Away by Scott Boyd, and now Alan Power can gather. Donald picks up the line, and Dom Thomas looking to form a partnership down that right-hand side for Kilmarnock.
It does take a little bit of time in pre-season to get your passing range in, to get your eye in for it, but Kilmarnock at times have had a lot of aimless balls forward. You know, Liam McCulloch will demand a lot more, will demand better passes out from the back, just to give them a chance to get up and play. It's been a lot of hopeful ones so far, so that will have to improve. It's something we'll want to work on.
Further 3 games in the Betfred Cup before their league campaign starts. Thomas's ball in, away from Adams, the standing centre-back.
Wave after wave, can't get out there.
You know, there's a huge gap between the midfield 4 and the front 2. You know, they're just struggling to get up and close that gap, which is giving Kilmarnock with little pockets of space to play in. Thomas is coming in, McKenzie's coming into play in them.
Broadfoot to Thomas, space though closed off. Couldn't find McKenzie. And Geoghegan, the goal scorer, to McDade, who just flicks it past his man. Ball behind Moore, but he had the appetite to retrieve it. Gilmore. He looks for ball, and that's nicely done. It's ball across. The Kilmarnock defence does its job. Best we've seen of Ayr in the second half, really. Doherty loses out though. Frizzell wins it back for Kilmarnock. So Donald, Adam Frizzell. United just beginning to chase their counterparts at the moment. It's Jordan Jones for the byline. Well watched all the way by Andy Geoghegan.
That all came about. It was a better pass from Stephen O'Donnell, a better pass into midfield, just to open up the other side.
Jordan Jones to take. Rising was Broadfoot. No joy for Kilmarnock on this occasion. And the clock is ticking. Well, it could be coming on. Looks like it. Alex Samizadeh is stripped and ready.
Sliver of the night, become a fan's favourite. It would be tonight. Big Derby, local rivals. Go and take your chance on it.
Well, it's going to be a very attacking change as well, by the looks of it. Alan Power's number is the one that is up. William McKenzie can certainly drop further back into that midfield, and Boyd and Samizadeh will, you would have thought, look to form a partnership.
No frightening. 15 minutes left, nothing to lose. Pushing Ayr back.
Looks more like a 4-4-2, doesn't it? You know, Chris Boyd's up there with Samizadeh, Dom Thomas on the right-hand side, Jordan Jones on the left, so really attacking, but you'd expect that from the Premiership club with 15 or 16 minutes to go. Go and try and force the issue.
Ayr United haven't beaten Kilmarnock since 2001. That came in the League Cup. A memorable night, penalty shootout. Chris Innes missing the crucial penalty. It was a rapturous scenes then, and certainly 50% of the crowd are enjoying themselves inside Somerset Park this evening, and he's one of them. Really is one of the iconic fixtures in Scottish football. The break of the ball goes Ayr's way. But the pullback couldn't quite make it to Moore. Turned by McDade, and he's then planted by McKenzie. And again, John Beaton is on the scene quickly.
Yeah, I've been really impressed. Confident lad, good feet. A bit of respite for air now. Take the time with this.
He's got a little bit of guile, hasn't he? You know, McDade, you can see he's confident with the ball. He wants to take it under control. He's trying a little flick. He's certainly been a thorn in the side of Kilmarnock. Always the one willing to go beyond, chase things down, take men on. Really impressive night.
Target, but straight at MacDonald. Samizadeh for the first opportunity to show what he's made of. And it looks like he gets it on PC outlet. Frizzell to Thomas. Ball not clear. Frizzell to McKenzie. We know all about this fixture. Now Jones. McKenzie to shoot, closed down by Doherty, and that epitomises the Ayr United effort. They've got a 1-goal lead to hang on to. They've got just over 12 minutes to do so. Frizzell, well, he got away from the Ayr United captain there. It's still Frizzell. MacDonald just seemed to get in his way there. Jones, Frizzell, Kilmarnock looking lively. Frizzell again, Dave for company. Challenge coming in from Higgins to block off Jones.
Starting to look leg weary, aren't they, here? United, you know, they're struggling to make tackles, they're falling over, it's taking a bit longer to get up. Kilmarnock's fitness now starting to show a little bit more. The sharpness is going on. It's been a long night for Ayr. Put a lot of leg work in. Starting to suffer a wee bit.
Whipped in and hoofed clear by Jamie Adams. And Ayr United for now are just camped inside their 18-yard box. And another attack comes from Kilmarnock through Frizzell. Waters into the middle. And it dropped nicely for Thomas to the touch on his way through.
There's half a chance. So it drops there. Thomas doesn't get a clean enough contact. Well defended.
It's just beginning to simmer. Jones floats it in. McDade up against Thomas. Frizzell. Doherty in hard on the challenge. Waters. Getting the easiest of balls there. Boyd to Broadfoot. Backs to the wall job for Ayr United for the final 10 minutes. Jones has it. One-on-one with Gagan. Jones, it's still Jones! Good save by Jordan Hunt.
Just exposed. Gagan a couple of times in this second half. Squares him up, gets a shot off. Strong hands. A young goalkeeper.
It's relentless right now. It's flicked on by MacDonald. Boyd won't catch that one. And respite for Ayr United.
And this is the concern for Ayr United now, that because they're so exposed, they're fatigued, the pace of Jordan Jones, the trickery, McDade has to, even more so now, try and get back and double up and help him out. Jimmy Adams has to try and play a little bit closer to him because Jordan Jones with his pace and trickery is a huge split.
Haven't threatened too often, Kilmarnock. Two on target, and here goes Crawford. He could finish it now. This is brilliant from Robbie Crawford. Scoring! And denied by Jamie MacDonald. It looked like he would waltz through the defence and score the second goal.
What an incredible run from Broadfoot. Would have been a contender for goal of the season this early. Just keeps going and going. Good feet, little shift there.
Absolutely sensational. He's the one who actually wins the ball in midfield. I love his intent, his drive, his energy, just to keep it going. His trickery, but what a save from Jamie MacDonald. He's been a busy man tonight.
That's exactly why he is maybe the most sought-after man in the United squad. In the meantime, a corner kick. Higgins couldn't get enough purchase on the header. So Donald going to turn back. Crawford doing his job. Thomas away from Doherty. And this is the sort of situation that he will want to find himself in, but the cross is poor in the end. Craig McGuffey looks like the man to perhaps try and see out these final few moments for Ayr United. Ian McCall just waiting for the change.
Probably just looking for an injection of energy, you know, somebody who can come on and run about and hassle and try and win the ball and try and carry it up the pitch.
Thomas. 6,417 the attendance watching on as Jordan Jones gets the ball on. Couldn't quite catch out Martin his near post, but it will be a corner kick. The goalkeeper certainly didn't agree.
Jones has been a threat heavily this second half. Does it take a deflection across it? It does. It looked like it went out.
Well, Jones to take right-footed. It's headed clear, as most of them have been by the Ayr United defence. And a chance to burst on for Higgins. Gilmore. Not a use from him, but that was from Waters.
It's just now about trying to pick sting out of the game for United. You slow things down when you get a throw in or a free kick. Can you get it up in their half? Can you try and win a free kick? This is where Moffat and Craig Moore become vital. They have to try and hold the ball, get it in as much as they possibly can.
Boyle's throw. Every time the ball goes dead, it's just an opportunity to eat up 15-20 seconds each time. Moore. And the foul given against the striker. Up against Stephen O'Donnell.
Just trying to get across O'Donnell. O'Donnell just ends him off.
Boyd's header. Samizadeh, no chance to get onto that. Foul going against Moffat. Taken quickly, Waters and Jones. He's the man Kilmarnock have looked to all evening. Frustration for the
free kick. Has to be a free kick. Jordan Jones driving there. Watch this. Again, little tug.
It's not going their way, and it hasn't all evening, really. Lee McCulloch has 4 minutes to try to salvage something from this. He's played his hand, certainly. He's gone for it with the two attackers. It's thrown up towards Boyd, who goes down and stays down. Broadfoot's header. Boyd is back to his feet. That's exactly where Kilmarnock need him right now. Gilmore. The chase comes from Moore.
Stephen, Jamie Adams has done well, hasn't he? Versatile. Dropping into that back four. Some crucial headers.
I think it's been terrific. I think even in midfield, he was winning a lot of balls. He was picking up the scraps and just nicking it on, keeping the ball, just recycling it. As you say, he's been back to centre half because he's hardly missed a header all night. Every time it enters the Ayr United box, you genuinely feel he's going to be the one that plays. He's been one of the knuckles in it.
Boyle up to the line. Here's Moore. Close attendance to try and help his man out. Worthy of goal. Ticks down, but too slowly for those in black and white. Away from Thomas, but this is the perfect scenario for Ayr United. As Kilmarnock look to make their final change. That's McKenzie coming off. Graham is the man to come on for Kilmarnock. Try and salvage something from this. United at the corner. The time ebbs and flows away from Kilmarnock. They're in no hurry. Beginning to start in the Somerset Road end.
Just a short one, Stephen.
I'd be amazed if they put this into the box with any kind of fight. They've got to try and maintain it as much as they possibly can.
Moffat is making his way over to take the short one. We're into the final minute of normal time. Well, the final touch came off Moffat. Kilmarnock can now scamper and scurry and try to get this ball upfield as quickly as they possibly can. Boyd was fouled. Now Ayr United have to rely on what they've done so well for 89.5 minutes and more. Waters, the left-footed delivery, goalkeeper came and then went back, and Adams stayed calm, let the ball go, and Ian McCall is getting close to what would be a memorable victory for Ayr United. Lee McCullough's first game in full charge of Kilmarnock is not going according to plan. Adams away, MacDonald, Scott Boyd, and it's given away. And here comes McDade. Now Moore. And again, the task is run that clock down. There will only be 2 minutes, of which we've had 40 seconds already. It's desperation time for Kilmarnock. And nothing is going their way right now.
shot, doesn't he? But I think the better team were in front. As simple as that.
What a start to the domestic season it has been. It always promised so much. An Ayrshire derby. And Moore and Gilmore will just look to further frustrate their nearest and dearest. Again, Moore using that low centre of gravity to protect the ball. 15 seconds for Kilmarnock to do something miraculous, but instead it's with McDade's. Well, that would have been the crowning glory. Long it goes, oh, it's on John Beaton. The final whistle has gone. It's a night that will live long in the memory of those Ayr United supporters. Honest men and lasses, oh how they have enjoyed this one, as Andy Higgins, winner in the first half, has made all the difference. What a start to the Scottish football season. Tonight, Ayrshire belongs to Ayr United. The League One side have beaten their oldest rivals. And what a night it has been to be at Somerset Park. That will go some way to healing the wound of relegation suffered back in May. What a memory for these supporters. These games don't come around very often, but when they do, they are always special. One for Kilmarnock to forget that Ayr United deserve so much credit for all that they did, and they have taken the 3 points. They have kicked off the Betfred Cup with a victory. It's Ayr United 1, Kilmarnock 0.
Thank you very much to Rory and all the team. What a story, what a start to the Betfred Cup. Ayr United have won this derby. We've got 5 more live games still to come in the group stages, including tomorrow. We're back at the National Stadium at Hampden for Queen's Park against Motherwell. That's tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. on BT Sport 1. So Ayr United win the derby for the first time since 2001. They've sent their fans home happy. The away support, though, well, that's plenty of questions. Kilmarnock did not show tonight a 2-division gulf between these teams. Plenty to be discussed in a few minutes' time. Welcome back. Ayr United have taken full bragging rights from this derby. They've defeated top-flight Kilmarnock by an Andy Geoghegan goal to 0. Here's some reaction now with Ailey Barber.
Well, Andy, welcome back to Ayr. What a way to mark it.
It was outstanding. It's not just about me, it's about the team tonight. The team were absolutely superb, so just delighted to get the win.
I know you're one of the team members that played in that semi-final against Kilmarnock when you were beaten in extra time. Did that feel some nice revenge tonight?
I needed that wee bit of revenge, to be honest. No, I'm just absolutely delighted to get a goal, especially against them as well. Obviously a derby and that, so it's a good feeling.
I mean, the disappointment last season for the club of the relegation, you've come in here, it doesn't look like a team that has disappointment. How have you found it since you've come in?
No, the boys have been absolutely brilliant. As you can see, we've got a good team. We're building on it, obviously. All the boys are just really good together, and I'm hoping it's just going to kick on for the season.
Yeah, and if you're going to state your intentions for League One, that's certainly the way to do it, Ross.
Oh, it's a great start, aye, as you say, but the aim for us is to go up in the league. But of course, it's great to get a derby win and kick the season off with a win.
There seems to be a real belief, or there seems certainly out there tonight to be a real belief amongst the players and amongst your own abilities. Where does that come from?
Aye, well, we know we're good enough players, do you know what I mean? There might be a difference of 2 leagues in it, but going out there, you've got 11 men against 11 men, so we know that once we got the goal, you've seen the togetherness as well, we didn't look really like they would concede.
I know promotion is a big priority for you this season, but you're in pole position now in this group to go into the knockout stages of the Betfred Cup. That's got to be a real incentive and something to really look forward to and fight for as well.
No, of course, as you say, our aim is to go up and win the league, but if you can stay in the cups and get a wee run in the cups, then it's always brilliant to get a run.
Well, you did very well tonight. Derby win, congratulations. Ross, you're man of the match. I'll let you do the honours.
I don't know how you got that.
Cheers.
Who picked that while you're looking at him? Michael Stewart.
Yep.
Explanation for Andy Geoghegan there. He's wondering.
I think if you look right through the middle of the pitch, Ayr United, they won the battles. Centre half, centre midfield, up top, they were got the better of their Kilmarnock counterparts. And if you look at Alan Power's been brought into Kilmarnock to do the job that Ross Docherty did. I think he was strong in the tackle, he set the tone. You know, they had the hunger and the desire to go and win the game, and it came from the captain.
Very well said, good argument there. You obviously disagree.
No, I think Ross Docherty disagreed. I think he actually said himself, really? Yeah. I think he was quite surprised. Listen, there was so many he could have given it to. You know, I just felt the outball of Declan McDaid. You know, the way he carried the ball, his threat, his trickery, his awareness. You know, I thought he was excellent as well. Craig Moore and Michael Moffat. So, you know, really it could have been either.
And your selection would have been
Jamie Adams. Yeah. But, you know, I understand what Michael's saying, not what Stephen.
OK, well, should we work our way through the game then? Andy Geoghegan with the decider in the end. A player who played in the Derby semi-final in the League Cup back in 2012, and he wanted to get his own back, and he's certainly done that tonight.
Yeah, as I said at half-time, you can see he gets the run on Frizzell, and Frizzell, look here, he's pointing. It's not my man. He runs into acres of space, and, you know, at half-time I mentioned as well, Lee McCulloch has got to be raging with the defensive setup. And even in the second half, number of balls coming out of the box, they didn't defend well enough from set plays.
He's got the run on Frizzell, but what is Chris Boyd doing? You can move Chris Boyd and go and head the ball, and he doesn't move, doesn't want to attack it.
Do you think it's unlikely that Frizzell would have been allocated that man anyway, because he's clearly looking for help there?
But what you do as a coach or a manager, you have to hope that players take a little bit of responsibility themselves. Just because it doesn't set in the board, well, he's not my man. If he's in your vicinity and no one's picking him up, go and take him. Go and challenge. You know, he might not be the same size, hasn't been the same height, but you still go and compete. I think it's...
Well, that's the point about Chris Boyd. He's got the run on Frizzell, but Chris Boyd is standing. He doesn't really want to go and head it, does he?
No, it could have been worse, though, tonight for Kilmarnock, because Ayr United had chances and Robbie Crawford almost scored a wonder goal in the second half. Yeah,
it was. I mean, this is what I was talking about. Look, they go and win the tackle in the middle of the park, and then he picks up the ball and he drives, showing the desire to get into the box, penetrate the opposition. I mean, it's wonderful footwork as well, and he's just unfortunate that he came up against Jamie MacDonald, who had a really good game. You know, he came up with a number of good saves, but this hunger and desire, you didn't see that from Kilmarnock.
And skill.
Yes,
brilliant.
That's what I was saying. Great footwork here.
That could have been goal of the season already, Darryl, first night.
Yeah, good save from a man who's maybe under pressure in goal for Kilmarnock.
Well, he is. You know,
they're trying to bring in Cammy Bell.
Well, there's been links with Cammy Bell, so you know when you get your opportunity, you have to go and take it. You know, Jamie MacDonald probably wouldn't have been expected to be as busy tonight as what he was, but he had to make big saves. But Ayr just looked a little bit further ahead than what Kilmarnock did. You expect always the top flight club to be a bit sharper and better in possession. Ayr seemed to edge that for me tonight, and that'll be disappointing for Lee McCulloch.
Just going back to Jamie MacDonald, do you think he's an unlucky man? Freddie Woodman was brought in last season. MacDonald seemed to be playing well at the time, and if Cammy Bell joins, chance he could lose his place again.
But if Cammy Bell joins, he'll play, I assume. But I thought he played well tonight, MacDonald. Hasn't done his chances any harm.
Would you be trying to put the budget elsewhere then?
To answer your question, Darryl, yeah, I do think he'd be unfortunate and unlucky, because you're talking about a club that's not going to have a huge budget, and like you were just saying there, I think you've got a competent goalkeeper. Yeah. I would be looking to spend the money elsewhere in the team, and especially in that performance there. You've got a competent goalkeeper. Look elsewhere in the side.
I mean, they need to bolster their attacking areas. But, was it two shots on target? Just not good enough.
Yeah, and actually MacDonald made some good saves in the first half as well, didn't he?
He was good, but Ayr United were so impressive in the first half. You know, it took Kilmarnock 55-60 minutes before they got involved in the game. But again, it was a simple ball into the box. You know, simple set play. Stephen O'Donnell and Scott Boyd kind of get muddled up. Who's picking him up? But again, that's why Jamie's there. You know, let's be honest. He has to make saves.
But it's a good save.
It's a good save. O'Donnell in that situation, you know, you have to watch the ball and go and head it. He's too concerned about the man.
You see this one here? This is down low, you know, left-hand side. Yes, if it ends up in the back of the net, you're asking questions, the goalkeeper. But Jamie MacDonald's the type of keeper that he's a consistent performer. Doesn't make many mistakes. And, you know, just to reiterate the point, I think with the limited squad and the budget that they've got at Kilmarnock, on tonight's performance, it just reiterates the point. They need to go and spend it elsewhere, and particularly at the top end of the park, because they're struggling.
Big decisions to be made for Lee McCulloch, but let's hear from his opposite man now, if you like. Ian McCall is with Ailey.
Ian, the perfect start to the season. That was some effort from your team tonight.
Yes, it was. I thought they thoroughly deserved to win. It could have been a bit more comfortable because we had 3 or 4 really good opportunities to score, particularly in the first half. We had a couple of great chances, but I thought we saw the game out really well. I said at half time, Chris Boyd, he may not be what he was, but in a split second he can change the course of a game. He did it to me at Frizzell with an unbelievable goal. But the defenders defended really well, and I thought, I just said to you, I thought Jamie Adams was absolutely colossus. I mean, just outstanding.
How impressed have you been with this reaction to what happened at the end of last season, to start this season in the way they have?
Well, I'm very impressed, but the players never get any of the blame. I got all the blame, so they got a free run at it. So I think there's more togetherness now, and that type of result obviously breeds a bit of togetherness. But as I said before, the 4 players we brought in are all. I don't know young David Ferguson yet. I've not worked on his personality, but the other 4, their personalities are just spot on.
Yeah, you've already mentioned Jamie Adams, guys like Declan McDade, Robbie Crawford. You have real talent in amongst your squad, and a result like this must set you up for the start of the league campaign and bring you great confidence. Yeah,
absolutely, and arguably our 2 most talented players didn't play. Craig McGuffey and Alan Forrest was injured, so yeah, we've got a lot of talented players, but you need steel as well, and I think we've got that now. But it's one result. It's a big result because it's our neighbours, our noisy neighbours, so we're just thrilled.
And it is in the Betfred Cup, of course. You now go on to the next 4 matches in this competition. Yeah. You need to take this performance into that. How difficult will that be when you maybe don't have the atmosphere of tonight?
Well, absolutely. That's a good point. I said that to the guys earlier. But just with the size of the squad, we're about Michael Rose will be out for about 4 weeks now, and whether Alan Forrest will be fit, Craig Reid's injured, we can't afford to lose any more than 2 or 3 players. So, but we'll look forward to them back on Tuesday. It'll be a great game, and we'll go and try and win it.
Well, enjoy tonight, Ian. Thank you.
Thanks, Killie.
He will enjoy tonight. Noisy neighbours. Statement made, do you think, against the big rivals?
It certainly is. We said at the start of the game it was a great opportunity for Ayr, 2 divisions down. But even before the game, I didn't think there was going to be a great deal in it. And they've proven themselves to be, more than worthy opponents to come on it tonight.
They were hardly bothered tonight as the water comes down behind us there. Be careful. They were hardly bothered tonight defensively. Michael Rose, they're going to miss him for a few weeks now, but Jordan Jones had a couple of chances for Kilmarnock. Pretty much all they could muster.
Yeah, just didn't do enough, did they? Second half, he got a bit of joy, didn't he? McDade was doubling up well with Geoghegan in the first half. I mean, this is a save you'd expect the keeper to make it straight at him. But Kilmarnock, with 2 shots on target, not enough for a Premiership side, and Ayr were comfortable, really.
But I think he's their best attacking threat. The 2 ideas or 2 game plans that we thought they had was a direct ball to Chris Boyd, or hope that Jordan Jones does something. Lee will understand he has to work a little bit more.
They were narrow, weren't they, on that right-hand side? And they rectified that, bringing Dom Thomas on, who actually I thought was a threat.
See, for me, far too often, the ball was getting picked up from Kilmarnock players, and there wasn't any offering in behind. There was nothing to stretch the game.
No.
Chris Boyd's not going to run in behind, and there wasn't enough runners from deep. And that's a problem, because then everything's in front of the Ayr defence, and it was easy for them.
OK, let's hear what Lee McCulloch's got to say about all of that right now. He's with Haley.
Lee, a frustrating night. What's the biggest frustration for you?
The way we started the game. I think overall first half, miles off it. Credit to Ayr. I thought they worked hard on us, which is disappointing. Silly goal to concede set play. Again, we've marked everything down set plays. We didn't deserve it coming in at half time. Second half, much better performance from us, but overall I don't think we deserved to win the game. Maybe clutching at straws, saying we deserve to get a draw, because our final pass when we were getting into half decent areas of the pitch wasn't there. So we've got a lot to work on, that's for sure, and bitterly disappointed for all the fans that have travelled here today.
Defensively, I mean, it was a set piece. Was it just a bit of a lack of communication amongst who was picking who up?
No, we've got our designated markers in there, so there was a player that was meant to be picking up the goal scorer. And he's not done it, so it's individual error. But the way we played in the first half wasn't good enough. I think second half at times we got the ball down and played on a great surface out there. Where first half sort of let ourselves down.
I know you've been away as a group in pre-season, but when you come into a game like this intensity in front of a crowd like that, is it a bit of a wake-up call tonight for some of your players in terms of where you are as you head forward into the league campaign?
Yeah, well, it's our first competitive 90 minutes, so yes, it is a wake-up call. And we'll be using it as a positive for the games coming up. I've just said that in there. It's obviously we're bitterly disappointed with the result, but as you say, it's a bit of a reality check for 90% of the players in there, that's for sure.
You now really probably need to win the remaining group matches to have a chance to go into the knockout stages. There's a bit of pressure early in the season. Can that sometimes be a good thing, trying to put a positive spin on it? There's
always pressure. Pressure on today, there'll be pressure on every other game coming up, so pressure's not a problem. I think it's just getting the team playing well.
Thanks very much, Lee.
Thank you, cheers.
Well, he's still smiling at the end there about wake-up call, reality check, terms used there. Is that right terminology for you?
Yeah, I thought he was very honest in the interview. He was clutching at straws. Were the better team. I mean, Stephen made a really good point earlier in that, he decides when they come back for pre-season, and if they're not prepared, then he has to take responsibility for that.
Yeah, he'll probably be saying to the board now, 3-4 players he said ahead of the game he wants, he'll be saying he needs them now, but this competition can bring good financial help to help bring those players in if they go through.
I think it's good to play in an Ayrshire derby. I think the players would have enjoyed it. It's maybe just too early for them. If they had it second or third game when they found their feet and they haven't played enough games, but the intensity of it right away has maybe set them back a little bit.
Just rephrase that.
This game won't define their season.
But Craig, you say the same thing about Ayr. They stepped up to the plate. So I think there's big questions to be answered in the Kilmarnock.
They knew the game was coming.
They did. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Enjoyed your company. We are back for this season and the rain is still blowing in. We'll see you at Hampden Park, National Stadium tomorrow for Queen's Park against Motherwell. 2:30 p.m. Bye-bye.